In this video, we're going to learn about chart filtering. And there are 5 different types of chart filters that we can use on our dashboards. And to demonstrate this today, I've got some HR data here, which lends itself very well to filtering, simply because it's got so many categories and quite a lot of interesting numbers to look at as well. So to get started, we'll go back to our dashboard and notice that edit mode is on, and we're going to add a new chart. And we'll pick our HR data and create a new chart from this table. Now I'm going to change the chart type here to a column chart, and we're looking at the average age across different locations here. And the first filter we're going to look at is an equals filter. So I'm going to change from location to job title, and then I'm going to set our filter to a location. So we pick location from the first column, and here we leave this at equals, and we can pick our location. So let's pick London, for example. And when we add this filter, we will only see job titles that are in London, and we can see the average age across those job titles. So let's add that to the dashboard. That was very straightforward. So now we have our chart, which is job title and the location is London. But what if we wanted to let the user pick the location that's shown on the chart? So let's do that. Let's add a new chart with the same data, and we'll set it up the same way. So average age by job title, and we're going to do the first 2 parts of the filter, so the location equals, but here we're going to use this option, let the user pick on the dashboard. And we'll add that to the chart, and as you can see, a drop down box is going to appear here. So let's add that to the dashboard, and here we are. Here's our 2 charts. So by default, the second chart is showing all locations, but we can pick to show a different location. And as you can see, when we pick a different one, the data changes to show only figures from that location, which can be very handy. Now, what if we wanted to look at our data, but we wanted to exclude something? Well, there's a filter for that as well. So let's add another chart from the same data. We'll create a new chart, and we can leave it on this pie chart for this because it will illustrate quite well what happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our filter, and I'm going to pick the location here, but instead of the equals filter, I'm going to pick the little does not equal sign, and we're going to pick does not equal New York, because maybe we only want to see locations that are in the same country. So all the other locations are in the United Kingdom, so we want to exclude New York from the data in this case. So let's add this filter and see what happens. So when I close that, New York is actually excluded from our data set here. And we can select a more meaningful figure perhaps. And that's our chart with a filter that excludes one category instead of locking it down to it. So we add that to the dashboard, and we're going to move on to the next filter, which is our Enlist filter. And I think to explain it, I think it's easier if I show you. So let's go again. We pick our example HR data and create a new chart, And I'm going to change this a little bit again. We'll use department and we'll use the quantity. And for our filter, I'm going to select department, but instead of the equal, I'm going to use the Enlist filter. And now this drop down changes, because here you can now pick all of the departments that you want to show on the chart. So I want to show technical support, software testing, IT, development, and customer services. And if I add that filter, that's what the chart will show. So this filter is really good if you want to show some of your categories on your filter, but you want to exclude a number of them. That's when you use the Enlist filter, because it can show a group of filters and not just exclude one, or not just lock it down to one, but you can select, pick and choose which ones you want to show. Now there are two more types of filters, which are numerical filters, and this is something, so let's add a new chart, and our HR data lends itself very well to this type of filtering, and we'll create a new chart again. Now let's say we want to show the number of employees by location, but we only want to show employees that are female. Now, how do we do that? Well, in our data, we actually have a numerical column which have a 1 in it for if the employee is female. So, female equals 1. We can also do a does not equal in this chart, but we want to do equals 1. So we'll add a new filter. And what this now does, rather than showing all of the employees, it's filtering by the female column. So it's only showing how many female employees we've got. And we could do the same with any number, of course. Say if you're having a customer service survey, for example, and you have answers that are scoring 1 to 5, maybe you want to see in which category all the most ones, the lowest scores were in. You could do a numerical filter and display it by category, and that way see where you needed the most improvement, for example. So let's add this to the dashboard and move on to the more than and the less than filter, which is also very useful, especially when you're looking at workforce stats, but it can also be very, very useful when looking at SLAs. Has it been met, or have you passed the threshold, for example, for your support issues? But let's use the HR data and create a new chart yet again. And what we're going to do is we'll do a column chart, and we can do it by location like this, and we'll do the quantity of employees. So as the chart is now, it's got the total number of employees in each location. However, we want to know when the age of those employees is more than 55. So if I add this filter now, we will see on the chart the number of employees where their age is more than 55. And as you can see, the distribution is a bit uneven here. In New York, we've got quite a lot of employees that are pension ready. And And this, as I said, can be used on things like support cases. So say you have an SLA of 48 hours to resolve support cases, and you have in your data how many hours it actually took. You could do a chart like this and say, how many support cases did I have each day where the resolution time was more than 48 hours? And you could quite easily then drill down into that data and see what were those support cases. Were they of a specific type? Were they assigned to a specific team? Or were they just plain complicated? And that can be very useful to understand more about your data. So that's all our filters added to the charts on this dashboard, and we've also got a help file about this in our help section up here if you want to read more about it.